Welcome to Cracking the Code, AI Workloads at Scale on Azure Kubernetes Service. My name is Shon Harris. I'm the Developer Relations and Alliances Technical Lead for the CloudOps portfolio in the NetApp Office of the CTO. I'm joined today by my colleague,
Yaroslav Meniailov, a Business Product Manager, 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀.
and we're here to talk to you today about managing AI workloads at scale using Azure Kubernetes Service. Let's be honest, in 2020, the cloud changed the way that we work. As the amount of data increases, so does the complexity and cost of our environments. In 2015, SpotInst was founded with the goal to make running in the cloud inside of AWS easier using EC2 Spot instances. In 2020, like we mentioned, the world changed almost overnight. We were forced to shift operations to the cloud due to the global pandemic. The reality is hybrid and multi-cloud is how most companies operate. In 2019, after the NetApp acquisition of Spot, we became the mainstay of the NetApp CloudOps portfolio, helping companies manage, move, and scale their cloud and non-cloud workloads with an entire portfolio of automation and optimization solutions built to make your life easier. And today, we bring a unified management plane to cloud operations with industry-leading AI and machine learning technology, delivering intelligent automation to drive cloud optimization at scale. When it comes to managing your data, you have to meet three tiers. One, it needs to be independent of a particular cloud provider. It needs to be silo-free, and it needs to be simple. And you have to be able to actively manage it by maintaining your security compliance and meeting your ESG goals. And you have to be able to perform at scale. You have to be able to use your data efficiently, and you have to be able to have the productivity and full complement of talent running your cloud environment. Spot's Ocean for AKS has been built in partnership with Microsoft Azure to help solve these unique challenges inside of your cloud environment. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. First, we're going to talk about what some of the challenges around AI workloads on AKS are, including adoption, costs, and challenges, some of the limits, putting in guardrails, and how do you handle recommendations. We're going to talk about solving day two CloudOps challenges, which means bringing in observability, understanding, and correlation into your CloudOps. And then we're going to look at some real-world use case, at a real-world use case, and the future of the Spot platform on AKS. Why are AI workloads so difficult to manage? That's a great question. We all know that as AI becomes more prevalent to our day-to-day operations, as more companies try to figure out how to use AI, that workload is growing. Containers are complex to manage to begin with. And a recent survey of CloudOps practitioners show that the biggest problem that companies face is infrastructure complexity. Then it becomes the financial aspect of managing what you're committing to spend. And then it's getting the most efficient use of your infrastructure. And then it's the manual tasks. These are all challenges that every company that's working in the cloud has to face. In a recent report from Datadog, 65% of containers use less than half of the requested CPU. That means more than half of your CPU cycles are just sitting there idle. That means money is being burned. The same applies to memory and using the requested memory. But as the market around AI grows, so does the usage of and need to have GPUs in containerized workloads. And the fact is, containerized GPU usage is on the rise. Over the last year, we've seen GPUs increase by 58% inside of Kubernetes clusters, and we've seen the inverse of traditional compute go down as people try to make their workloads run in AKS at scale. AI workloads are dynamic and require the elasticity of the cloud, but the biggest benefit of the cloud is its elasticity, and its biggest downfall is its elasticity. So how do you manage that growth at scale in an effective way? And how do you keep it from getting expensive and resource intensive so that you're getting the best value for your compute spend? Day two is the hard part. When we say day two, we mean you got your data into the cloud. Now you need to manage it. Spot by NetApp is uniquely positioned to solve that challenge of day two operations and beyond. Management is labor intensive when it comes to managing AI specific workloads. As your data and your workloads become more complex, so does your configuration. It's increasing exponentially. It's resource heavy. You need to manage the compute. You need to manage the storage, and you need to manage the backend network. And the native tooling is not mature enough. But Spot by NetApp makes AI ops operationally and economically feasible. So now I'll throw it over to Yaroslav, and he can talk about a case study when it comes to how AKS does this in a real-world environment with a leading IoT vendor with complex AI workloads. Yaroslav?
Thank you, Shon. So let's discuss and see how we actually solve the problem. All right, so what usually are the challenges when you're trying to run AI workloads, so-called AI ops? So right now, the toolkit that you have is that the AKS native autoscaler must be edited by hand. The pools are limited to single VM user per user pool. VMs are not always available. Sometimes you just don't have the capacity. And it's especially so when we talk about the GPU. Now, the management part. The idea is you have to do everything by hand, click, and actually transition to a DevOps. It's very hard to do. Modernizing the entire infrastructure, your entire pipeline to infrastructure as a code instead of kind of blocks of services combined together. It requires knowledge. And the more you use, the more you actually see that your usage increases. You do not foresee some of the cost, and you always getting a new cost here and there. And of course, knowledge is precious, and you always don't have enough staff or enough people to actually manage everything for you. Now, let's talk about the solution, and we have the solution. You can use our AI to actually run your AI workloads on top of the AKS. So let's look at what we offer. Now, we have management and automation. We have the cost and the availability. But what does it say to you? If you're trying to run the entire operation with Ocean, you would see around 45% decrease in time in your management and automation by your DevOps teams. From a cost perspective, you can see up to 90% decrease on the total cost of the infrastructure. And of course, availability, we offer you a stable SLA, and it doesn't matter which type of compute infrastructure you're using. So to sum it up, we have a comprehensive SaaS solution that is backed by enterprise level support, and we provide you an application-driven scaling. So let's talk about this specific use case. Now, the business drivers here, as you can see, the idea was to reduce the operational complexity and make it cost efficient, get close to maximum utilization of everything we can, the CPU, the memory, the network, the storage. Now, optimize everything and show ROI as fast as possible. And of course, not always you can see the ROI, so it has to be visible as well. So from the solution perspective, we can use Ocean application-driven auto-scaling to create a waste-free provisioning. Just provision just enough for what you need. AI-driven spot VM selection will give you exactly what you need, and of course, it will scale depending on the availability what you have. If you have on demand or pay-as-you-go virtual machines, we will scale those as needed. Now, container-driven auto-scaling and right-sizing, bin packing, and all those features that we provide actually enables you to get 90, but usually it's much more than that, close to 95% of utilization, which is much better than you can get elsewhere. And the idea that everything is clearly visible in our UI, you have one pane of glass to see all of those business drivers in one place. All right, so the result of the use case after we actually implemented the said solution, we saw almost 100% of the workloads were running on Spot Ocean managed notebooks. And almost the entire production of the customer, it's 99.9, right? So almost everything is covered by Spot with SLA, and it's managed by a Spot. So it's like handoff solution. The customer actually doesn't have to do anything. It's all automatically driven for him. And part of the entire automation, we saw a huge reduction cost per compute, and it showed in the ROI. And of course, part of our AI offering is to continuously optimize the infrastructure by using bin packing. And in that case, we achieved less resources for the same workload. So we packed it much better. So everything is combined and managed through a single pane of glass. That leaves you much more time to actually focus on better things to do with for your DevOps teams or other resources who usually manage infrastructure, and it saves you cost and time. So ClickOps and console management is actually gone. Now you can focus on better things. So you want to have a better experience with AKS by using Ocean. And the key features, as you can see, is actually completely removing the entire provisioning of compute, resources, management. You focus on the application only, you set the things you want to set, and Ocean will scale everything for you. We will make sure to take your pay-as-you-go instances, your reservations, and scale based according to your needs, be it for availability or cost. So what's next? How do we improve our features even further? So we are planning to release a cluster role and a scheduled cluster role for data operation, just in case you need to refresh the entire cluster to update security patch or just change the configuration. Automatic right sizing. We give you the ability to right size your pods on the fly, meaning if a pod consumes too few or too much resources, we will resize it to appropriate size to accommodate the existing load. And this is a continuous operation. We will add advanced ocean alert management to integrate any alerts you might want to have from our solution into your existing tools. We will add a Arise and Savings Plan automated support. So just in case you are not interested in spot workloads or the cost reduction is not relevant for you, you just want to have the automation and the visibility, those are the features for you. Network cost analysis, as you know, the more complex the infrastructure and when you're running on the cloud, there are some unforeseen spends, and major part of that is network cost. When you dial out of Azure, you move data between different availability zones. Everything has a cost, and we will give you the ability to see exactly which workload incurring those costs. Advanced bin packing, giving you even more ability to bin pack your cluster even further. And of course, an upcoming new feature, which is infrastructure configuration recommendation. We will see how you provisioned your AKS cluster, and we will give you an option to improve the configuration part. That's it. Thank you. Back to you, Shon.
Thank you for attending this session about our infrastructure optimization tools. The reality is, as your infrastructure grows, as data changes, and AI becomes more of a competitive workspace, you're going to have to think about how to optimize your infrastructure. NetApp and Spot by NetApp's Cloud Ops portfolio is uniquely situated to help. We've included our QR codes at the bottom of the screen that you're welcome to scan and connect with us on LinkedIn, and our email addresses are there as well. Thank you for joining us.